Hello, I'm Brandon Abbott, your host for this installment of Life Out Loud. Today, I'm at the Burlington Police Department to speak with Officer Braja about juvenile crime prevention. Officer Braja, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
No problem. I appreciate you having me.
First off, could you tell us a little bit about your background in law enforcement?
Sure. I started off, graduated with a bachelor's degree from Guilford College in criminal justice, minored in Spanish there. Then I went to Rockingham Community College and got my BLAT certification there at basic law enforcement. After that, I got my first job in law enforcement with the Chapel Hill Police Department. I was there for 2 years and then recently moved over here to Burlington. Been in Burlington for about a year now.
What are the most common types of crimes committed by juveniles?
I would say the most common interaction that I have with juveniles on a day-to-day basis while on patrol is we have a lot of runaway missing person calls, but we come across them in all types of calls, whether it be domestic situations or larcenies.
What are the police procedures for taking a juvenile offender into custody?
It varies on what type of, what the age of the offender that you're talking about. Anybody under the age of 18 in North Carolina is considered a juvenile. Basically, if you're under 16, you can be detained by a law enforcement officer for whatever the duration of the investigation is. Typically, you're going to be released to your parent after we're done with you, and a juvenile petition will be started. From your 16 to 18 group, we can physically arrest you, put handcuffs on you, and you're taken to the police department and go through the process basically just like an adult would. And then it's up to the magistrate at that point whether they are going to place restrictions on you or release you to your parent.
Do you see a lot of repeat offenders?
Yes, unfortunately I do see a lot, especially with the runaway missing persons calls. I do tend to run into the same people over and over again, and usually tend to believe that there's something else going on in the home or something else going on in their life, and that's what we try to identify after we've gone out several times dealing with the same person. We try to get to the root cause of why does this keep going on.
What prevention and intervention programs are available to juvenile offenders?
That basically depends on the type of offense that we're dealing with. We're going to look at how serious is the crime that you're involved in. Have you done it before? Have you been involved with us before? And that kind of dictates what we're going to do as a police department. We always have the option to do the formal route of doing a juvenile petition or arresting the juvenile and then going to court. But there are some pre-court intervention programs that we can also refer the student or the juvenile to. There's teen court, which is here in Alamance County. And then there's also some counseling programs and other initiatives through juvenile justice that we can also go that route as well.
What should I do if I see a fellow classmate doing something I suspect is illegal?
Definitely, I would say the first thing you should do is talk to the SRO. SROs are a way for the police department to be involved in the school and kind of give that visible face of a police officer, somebody that you feel comfortable with. So when you have something serious come up like this, or maybe you have a concern, you have somebody visible in your school that you can go to and talk to. I know that's not always the most popular thing to do, but I would venture to say that you never know how serious something that's going on in the school is. It might be something minor, but you really don't know. So you need to go talk to your SRO, and they're probably the best person that can tell you where to go from there.
What suggestions would you give to teenagers to help them stay out of trouble?
I would say from a personal standpoint, when I was in school, I was very involved in sports. Sports gave me a way to stay busy. Every season I was involved in something. It really taught me time management because I had to balance school with sports. Also, it just basically gave me something to do all the time where I got to the point where I didn't have time to get in trouble. So I would encourage everybody, if you're in school, get involved in something that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be sports, whatever that is. Find a goal and try to achieve that goal.
What about the parents? What can they do to help?
I would say just overall be a good example for your child. Children pick up on what's going on in the home. So if parents are doing something that's illegal or probably not the best example, the child's going to reflect that. So I would say get connected with your kids, know who they're hanging out with, and that should lead to open lines of communication between the child and the parent.
How can a teen with an interest in law enforcement get involved?
We have a lot of great opportunities here in Burlington. Number one, if you're in the high school age group, you can join our Police Explorers program, and they work one-on-one with our officers. They'll come do ride-alongs with us. They get exposed to a lot of different areas of policing while they're still in school to see maybe if this is a career that interests them. And then also for anybody in the community, adults, kids, they can do a ride-along with us. You just have to fill out some paperwork and get approved, and you can actually ride with the officer during patrol and see what we do on a day-to-day basis. So was that something you'd be interested in?
Very much, yes.
Well, let's go ride. You want to ride?
Yes, can I ride shotgun?
Yeah, come on, let's go. Well, I hope you enjoyed your ride along. Hope you learned something.
That was awesome, Officer Braja. Thanks again for taking the time to speak with us and for taking us out on the ride along.
Sure, anytime.
Well, gang, that wraps up another installment of Life Out Loud. Hope you found it educational. Until next time.